Yep, Frank Clark, no longer going to be in Kansas City come 2023. He's got 2 Super Bowl wins. He's third on the NFL all-time leading postseason sacks. Now he's off to find another journey. Maybe he comes back later at a later date. We'll find out. But right now, the Chiefs are in the process of finding their starter alongside George Karlaftis. It's not going to be Frank Clark. Who is it going to be? This is another NFL draft film room for you guys from the RGR Football Channel. My name is Daniel Harms. We are going to be going over everything today, and this is a little breakdown of Derick Hall, who I believe is a target for the Chiefs at the end of the first round. Let's look at a little bit how he comps to Frank Clark coming out of Michigan, because when we look at some of the numbers, we'll see here that some of these things make some sense. Obviously, just ignore the grade and stuff like that. But Frank Clark, 6'3", 271 pounds, coming out of Michigan. We know that he probably played some of his best football in Kansas City this past season, and he had trimmed down, probably closer to 255, 260. That's where he played most of the season. 34 and 3/8 inch arms, 10 and 1/8 inch hands. He ran a 4.79 40-yard with a 1.69 combine. He's not very explosive off the start. I had a good vertical for a defensive end, a 9.10 broad jump, and some decent agility scores here. Derick Hall, 6'3", 254 pounds. Interesting. 34.5-inch arms and 10-inch hands. This mirrors up very well with a player on the opposite of George Karlaftis. That's a player that they've had in Frank Clark. And when we look at his numbers down here, his vertical was not very good. I wonder if he just didn't test very well for practice great for, or he's just not very good at his vertical. But he was explosive everywhere else. The 10.7 broad, a 1.59 10-yard split with a 4.55 40 at 254 pounds. We didn't get any of the 3-cone or the 20-yard shuttle or the bench press from Derick Hall. I would imagine he does those at his pro day for Auburn. But at the end of the day, in terms of feel metric types, these two guys, Derick Hall and Frank Clark, match up specifically to what the Chiefs are looking for. They have the length, they have that body type, and they are predominantly power players. But what Derick Hall does is a little bit different than what we saw from Frank Clark for the most part. Now, getting into his tape, he does wear number 29 for Auburn, number 29 for Auburn. And the biggest thing that we focus on, that I will focus on, is that his pass rush acumen, his pass rush plan needs quite a bit of work. But there's one thing that I think we can all agree on, especially when you watch this playback from him, is that he does not want to give up, even if he's not doing everything he needs to do right here, like rip under, arm over, spin off, anything. He's kind of just moving his shoulders around, trying to get something to work, but he doesn't give up. He accelerates. He actually has closing speed, even after getting through all that work to get after the quarterback and Bryce Young. And we know, like I said, he's got power. The power is there. He's got speed to power. He really has nice hand location there. He puts the tackle right in the lap of Bryce Young on this play. It's a nice location to the chest with the hand. Boom. Pop, pop, pop. Right into the chest. Forces an incompletion because he's busy with a tackle in the back, right in his throwing lane. So, I mean, it's a really nice compliment that he has. And what I like most about Derick Hall is that with everything you're seeing, with the power, with the frame, the length, he also has get off, okay? We saw his combine numbers for the speed, a 4.55 and a 1.59 10-yard dash, which is key for explosion. And we add all of that to a run defender, okay? He is a very good run defender, sets a hard edge. Georgia on this play. You're going to see he just kind of gets left behind. They're going to keep going. They're going to go away, and they're going to bring pullers. And obviously, as a defensive end, you want to take on that first puller to force the running back to kind of think about what's going to happen. And, instead here, he's going to get in the way of both of these pullers. And what he does is he allows all of his buddies here to flow back to the football, make plays. Forces this running back to have to jump all the way out to help, to help. Eventually you can disengage here. So a very unselfish play from Derick Hall to be able to not only, blow up the pullers, both of them at the same time, but allow his teammates to flow back to the football and get this tackle for little to no gain on the play, maybe a yard. You also have the smarts, not just for seeing those pullers, but with what he's able to do in the game here. He's going to see, Darnell Washington get out there. So, like I said, setting the edge is very, very important. And with a team that likes to mix up their run fronts and mix up how they do things, I would imagine this was a pretty predominantly smart thing that he saw on tape, where they're going to throw this little pitch out to the running back, and Darnell Washington's just going to kind of chop you off here and try and get around you and force this defensive end to have to come upfield, because then that allows the running back to get into space upfield. So instead, he's just going, oops, I picked the wrong thing. He's just going to keep going, keep moving, keep moving. Oh my goodness, this is terrible feed. I don't know why it's doing that, but he's going to keep moving and keep moving and keep moving with Darnell Washington to keep the edge set. Also gets in the way of Broderick Jones, who's pulling around as well to help. So it's a really smart play to keep extending himself. Get to the sideline, get to the sideline, get to the sideline. Don't get bullied past here. Let everybody else come and help make a play. That's what this is all about for the run defense for him. All really is for defensive ends and defense tackles is allowing your linebackers to fill, get downhill, and make tackles. Pass rush time. This is where we're going to see the bit of his getting stuck come into play, because like I said, he does have, if he's got a favorite tool, and it's the long arm and the extension to be able to get after the quarterback, he does just get stuck a little bit from time to time. And one of the big things is you're going to see here, he's going to extend, push that tackle back, and then he just stops. He's got the two-arm extension. He doesn't disengage. He doesn't try to rip through. He doesn't try to swim over. He doesn't try to spin back into that B gap. So I'd like to see a little bit more from Derick Hall. He's talked about that at the Senior Bowl, working on his counters, working on his inside counters, but being able to get off the point of attack here after a successful bull rush is really crucial to being able to produce sacks in the NFL. We've seen that time and time again in Kansas City with some of their pass rushers not being able to get off of their bull rush or keep extending plays and to string some of these counters and these moves together. So he's got the length, he's got the power. We just got to see some of those moves coming around to be able to combine and get after the quarterback. We're going to see again, he's on the edge down at the bottom of your of the offensive line, defensive formation. The get off is really good. Okay, he's got the ability to threaten the edge, and when you can threaten the edge as a defensive end, what that does is it opens the gate, I would like to say. So you see the tackle here is just going to get into his stance and try to get to that spot before Derick Hall does. So he threatens the edge, and then he's able to work back to the inside. This is what you want to see more from Derick Hall, to be able to combine those two things and get after quarterback. This is what we call a counter. You do threaten the edge there, and then you come right back to the inside. A little short area work. He's got a high pass rush plan, meaning his shoulder pads are a little bit higher. His entire way that he attacks, especially at Auburn, predominantly he was in his 2-point stance. We're going to get to some of his tape where he's actually in a 2-point stance. A 3-point stance, and he looks far more explosive. But you can see the closing speed on tape. You can see the little bit. He does have some nice short area agility to work with. He's not the most gifted short area athlete, but when we are going to see him in space a little bit, you're gonna notice some fun things. I think about Derick Hall again here. This is another 3-point stance from him, and you're going to see the explosion to get off. And yes, this was not a great day for Derick Hall. He didn't have the best day against Broderick Jones, but we're seeing the tools. Again, that 3-point stance, I think, is key for him, because that's where he'll play in Kansas City if he's drafted. He's got that explosion. He does try to get back to Stetson Bennett, but again, what you're seeing here is that he's able to force the tackle into the lap of the quarterback quickly enough. Stenson's kind of staying on his mark a little bit, especially with growing defensive backs in Kansas City. They're playing better defensively and better in coverage. I think that makes a lot of sense to be able to add a guy who can collapse the pocket, who's got some upside in that length that they're looking for, to be able to threaten. This is the play that tells me more about the potential for Derick Hall, because while he's not going to bend anything a ton, he understands leverage. And as a pass rusher, you do need to be able to understand leverage. What do I mean by leverage? So right here, we talked about opening the gate for a tackle. And this tackle is going to open the gate. So he's going to extend out here and turn and face perpendicular to the sideline, okay, or parallel to the sideline. So shoulders and sideline are at the same, all right? He's going to see that. Oh, good Lord. He's going to see that and dip underneath. So like I said, he's not the bendiest guy in the world, but he can dip from the waist down and get underneath some shoulders and some arms, close. He gets a nice little strip sack right here because he understands what that tackle is doing, and he's able to fight through it. Just a little bit of a swim over with his left hand, get underneath, lift up through, here comes the football. It's out. So I really like what he offers. Again, we're seeing more of the tools because Derick Hall is much more of a toolsy guy. He has the pass rush problems. He does have the inability to continuously get inside those counters like I was talking about. But outside, hand in the dirt, I really think that he is primed to be able to get into the NFL and cause some damage because, especially with a guy like Joe Cullen in Kansas City, I think it's a really perfect match to be able to take advantage of the things that he offers to an NFL team with that length. We've seen him in the run game. He does set a very hard edge. He's very competitive in the run game. And then when you have that speed to power off the edge, these last two clips that I'm showing you again to be able to put his hand in the dirt are the more important thing for me because you need to be able to have that transfer of speed to power and the get off. He's consistently off the line more and faster than his teammates. And that's the big thing for me. Getting off the ball, getting upfield, trying to harass a quarterback, can get everything done. He's a relentless and powerful player that I do think he's going to make an impact in the NFL. A lot of people don't know if he's going to be a first-round pick or not, but I've seen him mocked to the Chiefs at 31 multiple times already. ESPN, NFL Network, that kind of stuff. So I figured I would do a little breakdown for you guys to show some of the upside, try and talk to you about some of the things that he's not going to do well out of the gate. But I think that with George Karlaftis there, he's a good complement with a little bit more speed off the edge and gives you some of that ability to corner and get down the line. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look at Derick Hall, kind of combining how he looks compared to a Frank Clark. And when you think about their body composition from this year, they're very, very similar. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like and the sub for the channel. Would appreciate it very, very much. I'm currently in Michigan on a mini vacation. Don't be afraid to hang out at me on Twitter, ask me a question, whatever not. I'm always down to ask and answer questions. So you guys have yourselves a fantastic day, and we will see you next time. We'll let Derick Hall here take us out as he gets a strip sack on Will Rogers, the quarterback at Mississippi State. You guys, please remember to have a great day. It's always a great day to be a Chiefs fan, like Seth always says.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.